Quiet on set. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Let's Poddy podcast with your host, Benji Weatherly. It's the podcast where you learn absolutely nothing.
Here we are at Let's Poddy episode fucking whatever, season 2, whatever, I think. I don't know. But yeah, we're coming in hot with a young, talented young man that I'm more intrigued about talking about golf with this guy because I saw his swing on Instagram this morning and I want to go bang sticks with you, like for real. Like it's funny because if you're into golf, it's like a different thing because it's one of those things where Michael Jordan, the greatest athlete of all time, says golf's the best game in the world. And you're like, a lot of people that don't golf are like, golf? Are you fucking fat ass and some fucking weird pants and shit? But when you do it, you're like, ooh, this is something that I can actually never get really, really like as good as it gets. And there's not many sports out there that are like golf. So when I'm talking about is our newest member of Let's Poddy is, I'm going to ask you where this name came from. Was your parents a big Rolling Stone fan? Jagger?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Both my parents were big Rolling Stones fans. I think it was their first date. I don't know what happened after. I don't know what happened, but somehow.
But you're the second kid.
I'm the second kid. Yes.
So the first kid was named Mick. Just kidding. No. But you are the second of two. This is Jagger Eaton. Eaton is German.
I am not sure. I think it's
I 22'd in you and I found out.
I think my parents did a while ago. I think it's German and English.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the Poddy. And yeah, I mean, there's so much shit. All I know is that you're 23, of probably a top, I don't know. I'm going to try to explain what this young man does for a living. He's in the middle of vert skating and street skating. He can do both, but it's like when I grew up, the guy Rune was Clifford. How do you say his name?
Clifford?
Yeah, he was a little older than me, but he skates. When I watch you skate, I'm like, fuck, he's like the young version of him. And it's like a transition for people out there who don't know skating. Transition is more vert and like ramps and like quarter pipes and everything. And the streets usually rails and, street skating. He does both, and they call it park, right? Street park. That's kind of mainly what you compete at, right?
Yes,
park?
yeah. So I compete in both the two Olympic disciplines, which is park and street.
Oh, you do street too?
I do street as well, yeah.
Okay, cool. You're gonna have to explain a lot of this because I'm a dumb surfer, but yeah, I see you all the time. I'm like best friends with Mark McMorris, and he's kind of like the snowboard of you, from what I gather, and I watch you guys all the time. You guys our generation was not mainstream. And it's so nice to see you guys are mainstream and still fucking core skaters, but you get taken care of by, like, I saw an Instagram clip this morning and you were fucking getting interviewed by Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg didn't even know what skateboarding was in the 90s. Like, he's like, skateboarding, what? Now he's fucking hanging with you and talking shit. And it's just insane that you get to hang with celebrities, rub elbows. I think I saw you at the Ryder Cup. Am I right? Or a golf tournament or something?
Yeah. So I was I played the pro-am at Torrey Pines.
That's what it was.
I was super grateful to have a really good relationship with PGA. But
who'd you play with? Who was the pro?
It was Adam Shank and JJ Spawn.
Can you imagine if your last name was Shank and you golf? That's fucking scary.
That man was so pure.
Was he fucking buttery?
It was ridiculous.
It's so
like
fun.
People don't understand, like, the pro-am round for people, like for those PGA pros, they're literally just there like kicking it. They played Torrey Pines competitively for the last like 10 years. They walk up to par threes that are 230, 240 yards, and they're hitting 3 irons to 6-7 feet and like on their phone the whole time, like cruising. And I got 185 with people behind me watching. I'm like feeling all the pressure.
See, I love that because he respects it so much. I've been really good friends with Adam Scott, and I've caddied twice in tournaments, and we got 7th place one time. We almost won at the Sony Open in Hawaii. And to get to be next to a pro athlete, there's no other sport like it. I'm sitting there pulling clubs for the bat. He was number 1 golfer in the world at that moment too, because he just won the Colonial. And he fucking, just like he's saying, you walk up to this par 3 and you can't even see the flag. You're like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'll hit 6. You're like, it's 230. Like, what are you talking about? And then they always stick it. And if they miss the green, you're like, oh shit, here we go. It's like deepest bunker you've ever seen, and they hit it to 2 feet and tap in for par and walk away. For us, when we're in that position, we're like, let's just not triple this bitch. Let's go. But yeah, it's really exciting because I was doing what you're doing. I was traveling the tour, doing my thing, and I'd bring my Mizuno MP13s, and these are little blades, because I was on the Kahuku golf team when I was 14 in Hawaii. And I love golf, and I'd slide them in my board bag, and it would ding all the rails and everything. And we'd get to like Reunion in South Africa, and I'd be like, hey, guys, I'm going to go golf because it'd be windy and blown out after we film. And they're like, you're going golfing? And then I got Kelly into it, and Machado grew up golfing, so we'd always kind of battle. But the whole point is like when you're in these different countries, do you find time to go golf different places like South Africa? I mean, you've been all over the world, right?
I golf everywhere I go,
Sick.
like religiously. And I think a big part of it for me is I try not only like traveling, but in everyday life, like I try to manage my distractions. I think that's a big thing is being an athlete nowadays. Like I'm not on social media. I don't do any of that. Like I'm really kind of try to just be as disciplined as possible with what I surround myself with on the daily. And golf for me is like, especially traveling, it's like the greatest escape.
It is.
And you know Jeff Jewett too as well.
Yes,
yeah,
of
so
course.
Jeff was my first ever skate coach when I was 6, and he used to golf with my dad when I was so young and didn't have the temperament to get through 18 holes. And now when we travel together and stuff, when we go, we're having these matches everywhere we go all over the world.
How's Jewett's
so
game?
Fun.
Is he good?
Jewett's good. Jewett's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
He's such
I
a
think,
good dude.
he's got me one time. So you talk about the Ryder Cup. I was in Rome the same time it happened, but I was competing in the World Championships in Park.
So you went and checked it out.
I wish we went and checked it out, but me and Jewett did play golf in Rome, and he got me one day, and I was very upset. But yeah, he's got a good game.
That's dope. And I saw another clip. I'm going to go through your Instagram just an hour ago, and it looked like you were doing ollies over the FedEx Cup. Is that the FedEx Cup?
That was FedEx Cup.
What the fucking hell are you doing at the FedEx Cup? So for all you out there that don't golf, FedEx Cup is like the final finale of the tour, and they give them like $15 million, and you got to be, I think it's like the top 30 gets the last championship, and then the guy wins, gets this fucking gnarly trophy. How the hell did they give you that thing? And how the hell were they filming you ollie over it? What's going on?
Yeah, it was super random. So I got hit up by my connects at PGA, and they said, hey, we would love to do a skate project, including the FedEx Cup. And I'm like, okay, I love all the guys, everybody that works that I've met at PGA are so professional and kind and so rad and interested in what I'm doing, which is so rare. Like, especially in golf, like they're interested in what a skater's doing, which is so rad.
That is rad.
And they hit me up and they're like, hey, we'd love to do a video. And I'm like, okay, I can be available tomorrow. And like, okay, we'll fly the FedEx Cup out.
Where was it? Here?
It was in Florida.
Okay.
They flew the FedEx Cup into San Diego Airport at 7 a.m.
Is that the real one?
That's a real one, dude. It was like it was out of a like camera case, like a Pelican case.
Like it was the real one.
Yeah, and they need to like put together. The girl was wearing gloves. I was like, all I was thinking was like, if I hit this cup right now.
And you guys in this video, please go to his Instagram and check it out. He's literally ollieing over the whole thing off just like a little like hip. And you're way above it. But what if you hit that spot? It's like the most important trophy in golf, pretty much. And were they even worried? The girl with the glove, like, don't fucking hit it.
I mean, it's like spilling mustard on a Masters coat. Like that's what I was on. Like, if I hit it with my board, like, I'm gonna be ridiculed from every golfer online right now.
I thought you might even just do a little nose grind on it.
No. But it was super cool. Yeah, it was super cool. We did a video about an
in
hour
promo or?
Yeah. So they ran it in promo, and also at the time, like I think the big thing for them was they just like to cross promote a lot of their stuff. So as a skateboarder,
having a pro skater gives them street cred a little bit.
I mean, that my thing was like, can I just get around at DPC Sawgrass?
Did
like,
you?
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Try and plan to get out there.
What he's talking about, the TPC just ended last weekend on Sunday, and it's their tour championship, and it's in Jacksonville. And it's like a Disneyland for golf. Every hole is like a miniature golf hole that like Happy Gilmore's fucking made. It's insane. I played it when I was younger, but it's so nice, man.
Yeah.
So that's your goal, is just to keep doing what you're doing. Fuck, he's only 23 years old, so he's right there in the beginning of this fucking insane career. He competes on all the things like X Games, and tell us about this Olympic thing, because I know all the people that I know that have been in the Olympics, because in my generation there was no Olympics, so this is a new thing. We're on, like, for you it's like year two. I mean, the second or third Olympics you guys have been involved. Second Olympics, and the first one you won bronze. And dude, he has a fucking gold. I mean, a medal from the Olympics. That makes you even more like Mick Morris. You know, he's like the best snowboarder, but he keeps getting bronze. This one, we're going for gold, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going for gold this time. But
yeah, do you think about the Olympics ever as a different contest, or is it just another contest too?
I mean, I think if you think about contests any different than each one as far as importance, you're gonna kind of blow it out mentally. I think for me, every time I get to compete is a chance for me to see where I'm at as a competitor. I don't look at the Olympic Games like anything different than another contest. I actually look at it like easier. Making the teams is the hardest part. So for people to understand, the Olympic qualification process for skateboarders is a year and a half of strict world skate competition. There are phase 1 tournaments, and within those phase 1 tournaments, there are world championships. And the phase 1 tournaments are worth 50. The world championships are worth 80,000 points. So 50 and 80,000 points. Basically, over the course of a year and a half, you have to be top 3 in your country consistently through the whole process. Oh. And then it's decided if you make the team a month before the Olympic Games.
So you haven't even qualified for it?
I haven't even qualified yet, no.
Holy shit.
Right now in both events in Parker Street, I'm ranked top 2 in U.S. for both.
Right.
And I have 2 more now we're in the phase 2 events, so 2 more Olympic qualifiers, and they're worth 6 times what phase 1 contests are worth. So they're worth a lot more going.
And these are all over the world, games. Or just America?
The next one's in Budapest in May, and then Shanghai in June. Oh. Or no, Budapest in May, Shanghai in July, and then the team's picked.
Damn. Who's our American hopefuls? You and who else from America?
In Park, it's me, Gavin Bachner, and Tate Crew, Tom Shar, Liam Pace. There's 5 or 6 of us who are very competitive.
Nigel doesn't fuck with that stuff.
Well, that's Park.
Oh, yes, no, I'm saying street.
That's Park. So for street, Nigel's number 1. Uh-huh. I'm number 2. Alex Miller's number 3. Chris Jocelyn's number 4. Braden Hoban's number 5. Right.
Sick. Now. Chris Jocelyn, he's my favorite skater ever. His style is so stupid. It's insane. And I'm friends with Danny and Colin McKay. I play. You know Colin McKay?
Of course.
I golfed with him.
My first board sponsor was Plan B. Yeah, my first shoe sponsor was DC. I was on Plan B DC for 10 years, and I honestly didn't even see myself leaving. Like Plan B and DC was everything to me.
When I was young, DC Plan B, that was it.
My gosh.
That was it.
Yeah.
They would come out with the decks. I'm best friends with the people from Pacific Drive, you know, that skate shop?
Yeah.
And they would come out with the new decks, and they always had the funniest graphics, and it was all Danny McKay, and they had the best team.
I mean, I base my
Sheffy.
Sheffy's awesome. I see him
skate.
all the time.
I saw him at the park the other day.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, you're still doing this shit? And he was doing rails. I'm like, you're fucking 5 years older than me. What are you doing? That's the thing about skateboarding. Like in surfing, you could just get into a longboard. You can start kind of. I even told Sheffy that day when I was talking to him, I go, it's crazy when you get, into their 50s and stuff. If you're going to try to do a rail, when you land, it's life or death still. Like when you go surfing, you can just cruise. But you guys, it's hard to be a pro skater. You know what? We had Cheeto Vera, the fighter.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. Most UFC fighters, as soon as they retire, they don't fight anymore. Because it's not like, when you're 40s, you're like, let's go fight. Like, it's like, just like you're not going to be hopefully skating park when you're 50, but you might still be doing it like Sheffy because it's just a matter of you can tolerate it and your technique's good. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to see Sheffy out there doing rails still.
No, it's amazing. Sean's an amazing skateboarder.
Fuck,
yeah, and go back Danny and Colin. Like I based my whole skating style off of what I saw them do in the DC video. Them taking street tricks to vert ramp was everything to me.
That's so fucking cool.
And it's funny when you talk about like Cheeto because he's an amazing fighter. And I fought MMA for 5 or 6 years when I was a kid. And
same with this little girl.
Yeah, I love
Kickboxer.
Kickboxer. Mm-hmm. Wow, like Muay Thai or?
Yeah, started in Muay Thai and then eventually just kind of added jiu-jitsu into it. So ended up in MMA.
Oh, that's
broke
dope.
her jaw a few times and the doctor's like, you probably shouldn't do this.
I did not break my jaw.
What happened again?
But I basically destroyed my jaw joint from getting punched in the jaw too many times.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, isn't it great though? Like I tell this to all, like
both
every
you
parent,
assholes don't look like MMA fighters, but I guarantee you guys whoop ass.
Well, it just means we were good at it.
Yeah. I always preach this. Like I tell a lot of parents come up to me and they ask about like their kids because raising kids now, like I'm nowhere near being a parent, but like it's so gnarly now with kids and what they're exposed to at a young age. And I tell them to get into fighting because I'm like, what fighting teaches you is not to fight. Mm-hmm.
So
like
true.
It teaches you humility on the basic level.
Yeah,
getting punched in the face
you're
when
right.
you're 12, 13 years old by somebody much bigger than you and getting tackled and grappled and it is tough.
Dude, that's the greatest thing you could ever say, what you just said. I had an older brother. My whole life has been humble and I know my place, right? I grew up in Hawaii. I was a white kid in a school of no white kids, and my brother was a motherfucker. He was an MMA fighter, basically. And so I had that humbleness, and that's why I had respect. You're so right. These young kids, man, they're their pajamas, electric bikes, smoky pen, fucking helmets hanging off their back of their head. They're not even looking. And I'm like, that kid needs to go in the UFC gym and get his ass fucking kicked. Because dude, he couldn't have been more wise by saying that, because that's totally true. Like, these kids need to go in there and get choked a couple times. Be like, oh shit, I'm not the man. Like, I've got to figure this out.
Well, like, I had an older brother too, and when we fought together, and there's no feeling like your blood boiling getting into a fist fight with your brother. Like, and me and my brother, like, it was scary because when we would fight as a kids, we would like slap and stuff. And then when we knew how to fight, we would get in these scraps that were so gnarly. Like,
that's why you're gnarly.
My mom, my poor mom, man. Mom, if you're watching this, I love you so much. You dealt with so much stuff with me and Jet. We just went through it. But yeah, again, like I said, I think it's really important for every kid to learn that. You're
like never going to let your brother fucking beat you at anything. And that's what makes your drive so strong, right? My brother is 275 right now, almost 6'4". He's a giant monster. And we call him the big mean. So I always felt like if I can get through life not scared of him, then everyone else is nothing. And I would never let him beat me in surf contests. I never let him get better at anything. And so that drove me. And then, like, for Jet, was he doing the same things as you, skating since you guys were little? And
on this podcast, we love supporting quality products and awesome people. That's why we're so stoked to partner with Dark Art Surfboards and their lineup of shapers. Dark Art's boards are faster, stronger, lighter, and ready for wherever you decide to paddle out. And these carbon fiber boards aren't just for high-performance surfers. With shaping collaborations from Tomo, Paizel, JT, T. Patterson, Album, Rusty, DHD, and more, there's a Dark Arts board for everyone. Head to their site, darkartsurf.com, to check out their full lineup of surfboards.
Yeah, Jet, he does golf.
Is he a badass at golf too?
He's okay in golf. He's got to work on his mobility a little bit in golf. I do a lot more yoga than my older brother, so he's got to get just a little bit deeper
more
in
hips.
That. But with me and Jet, we both got skateboards when I was 4 and he was 6 on Christmas Day. So we got skateboards together.
What board was it?
It was a blind board. It was a blue monster board, and it was a complete. I don't think my parents really knew much about skating at the time, so he just bought us a complete at the local skate shop. Yeah, and we got that together. And I preach this always. Like, I wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for my older brother falling in love with it. He fell in love with skateboarding before I did, and I just want to be like him. I was
just like Big Morris.
Yeah, I don't know much about. Was his older brother what got him into it too?
Oh yeah, his older brother was 2 years older, I think, 2 years older, just like yours, and he was unbelievable at skateboarding. All the little videos, he's like, I'm gonna get better than you. Fuck this, and then he just kept building, and then the younger brother usually does take over. Hate to say that, guys, but I made it. You made it. Mark made it. Not to say our older brothers didn't make it, but it's like they drive you, man.
Unfortunately, what happened with my situation is Jet was the pioneer for all of us young kids in vert skating. Like me, Tom, Mitchie. Jet was the first one spinning fives, doing front rodeos, all that stuff.
That's dope.
And he was also the first young gun to do a full pull on Mega. Right. And Mega ramps were where we all got our start. And at the time, Jet was 13, I was 11, and when he was skating Mega, he unfortunately had a really bad incident, and it put him out of Mega a little bit. And at the time when that happened, he had an invite to X Games in LA that year.
Wow.
Yeah, and he unfortunately had to miss X Games because of the injury. But Jeff Jewett, he saw my situation and he saw me progressing rapidly on Mega, and I kept doing it and loving it. And he said that if I can get a run that was good enough to compete in the 2011 games, then I would go. Or 2012 games, I could go. And I got 11. I was 11 years old, when that happened.
Your mom must have been shitting her pants when you were on that Mega ramp, dude.
My mom, she's a saint.
11.
She went through it with
11 years old. What's going through? Okay, you guys, the people out there don't know what a Mega ramp is. It's like surfing a 30-foot wave at Jaws, and you're 11. It's so crazy. I've been on the top of that thing looking down and going, all right, well, that's fucking death. And you're 11. Literally the first drop in at 11. Did you go off, obviously, the little smaller one first, and then you went up to the very top? Because there's different sizes and shit.
Well, the one that I started skating was at Woodward, and it was just the mellow roll into the fly box. And then going to X Games, when it's a steep one, it's a whole different ball game.
How'd you do? And when you were 11, did you make a couple heats or?
Yeah, I made the finals. Yeah, I ended up getting 7th or 8th in finals, which is dead last. But at the time, all I was thinking is like, I'm next to Bob Burnquist right now. Like, and he's doing the front side 7 leans to back 7 to fakie at 14 feet high. All I was thinking was like, I can't believe I just get to sit and watch this right now.
So
like,
fucking cool.
I'm doing my backflip to 5. That's like 5 or 6 feet out because I weigh 85 pounds soaking wet. I can't even get out of the quarter pipe.
Oh my
but
God.
man, it was seriously a dream come true. Like it really was for me, and that was where I got my start. And since then, you know, it's been I'm so fortunate to be where I'm at now.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes your guys' genre of skateboarding. Like I grew up where if you're a street skater, you're a street skater. If you're a vert like that, and your generation's like our generation of surfing. John, when he was a little kid, I'd go watch him skate the park at Pipe. And I'm like, oh, he's a pro skater. Like, this is unbelievable. He's doing these, you know, like indie grabs over method over the whole fucking hip. And I'm like, wait, he's 10 and he's this good at skateboarding. And then he becomes the best surfer in the world. And then he still can skate and everything. But for you guys, I mean, you're 11 and you start skateboarding. You went from mega ramp. You do vert, obviously.
Not really. I have a weird relationship with vert, man.
Really?
I'm kind of scared of vert.
Really?
Vert's gnarly for me. Like when all of my buddies too, like Tom and like Tom specifically. Tom rips on vert. Take Crew rips on vert. Like, and for me, like I watch that and I'm like, dude, I'm not going 9 feet high out of vert ramp. Like that freaks me out. I would rather do flick back over crook in a deep end of a bowl than do a 5-9 feet out on vert ramp. Like, that freaks me out.
It just comes or doesn't come to you, right? Naturally.
Yeah.
It's like Mick Morris. He's the slope style guy, the best in the world, but he doesn't like vert. It's like, what are you talking about? You should kill those guys in that. Like Shaun White, best vert, slope style. You know, like, fuck, it just comes natural to you. But the vert ramp it seems like vert ramp, you have to be dialed in for every hit and no matter what. So it's like instantly. With your skating, you guys are in the bowl and you got time to think like, fuck yeah, I can change this up while I'm going. It's more of a flow. Yeah. The other one's like boom, 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 boom.
Well, I love the technicality of park skating. Like I love how many things you need to be good at, right? Like I love that you need to have gnarly deep end tricks and pocket tricks and volcano tricks and flat wall tricks. And I love that for me because that is a great way to progress at what you love doing is to learn all these different areas of park. It's like golf. Like you need to drive the ball. You need to have your short irons.
You have to be creative too, right? You got to let the creativity come to just come naturally, right?
Yes.
Like when you start a run, this is a really important thing for me to ask because I always wonder, you guys kind of have a run set in your mind, it seems like, when you watch it. You know, like, okay, he keeps, and then even the announcer's like, okay, he's coming up for that huck chuck, fucking whatever. They know all the moves. But do you ever, right before you go on a run, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking let this go and just do whatever the fuck my mind thinks of at the time? Like, do you have runs set and you do that run? Or is it something when you drop in, you're like, fuck, I'm just going to hit everything and try. You know what I'm saying? Like
runs are always set. It's never
They
impulsive.
always set it, right?
It's never impulsive. Especially, it can't be in park.
It can't be?
It can't be in park because one thing that people don't understand is that in park, you need to maintain speed or the judges will deduct you for it.
You can't make any mistakes.
Yeah, well, you can't make any mistakes until the time's off, right? So, like, you got 45 seconds, right? And at 45 seconds, if you end with speed, the judges will like that.
Really?
And if you, like, I have a problem, right? Because sometimes I get too technical, and that was my issue. Right, like if you saw my runs 4 years ago in park compared to now, they're completely different. Right. And because 4 years ago I skated park like a street skater, and I need to start skating park more like a vert skater, and still have my street stuff. Right, so it's kind of that balance and strategy of finding how to be individual, but also how to hit all the judging criteria and be able to get points.
So you've evolved into more of what they want to see kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this fucker doesn't wear pads. And I know that out there, they're like, what do you mean by that? He doesn't wear a helmet, doesn't wear knee pads, doesn't wear anything, right? You just skate straight up. Or do you
street, I skate straight up, but in park, I put on pads and helmet now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Well, It's actually, so here's the thing. It became mandatory in park.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, and it was really recent since it happened. Like the last time, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, I was skating park no pads. And then,
those are some of the footage
it became mandatory, and it becoming mandatory kind of helped park elevate a ton because now there's a lot more risk to be taken.
Cool,
you know, because you're in knee pads and a helmet.
It's like big wave surfing with a little vest and a jet ski that picks you up and stuff. It's just a little bit safer. I am from Arizona. I am a desert rat. I know. I saw one surf clip of you, and it was just paddling. I was like, well, you know, he looks good out there. Then you do everything though, man. I just going through your Instagram. You golf, you surf, you fucking skateboard. It looks like you snowboard, obviously, probably. You fuck around with that every once in a while.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah, when I can.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see though that you're doing exactly what you said. You said you're like, you'd use your time wisely to keep your head space, clear and do golf. I mean, not to go back to golf all the time, but it's like when you're out there and you're challenging yourself mentally, it teaches you how to be calm when you make bad mistakes and then recover. And then at the end of a hole, you went from here to here to here, but you parred and you're like, see?
Yeah.
I don't need to hit that shit straight. Like it's a real achievement of mental strength, golf. So when you get out there, I took Adam Scott to Pipeline. We went swimming and a fucking 8-foot wave landed on him. He almost drowned. I had to get him out there and I had to swim into this current. And the next day he's in the Pro-Am at Sony Open. And his confidence was like, fuck, I just surfed pipe. And he was telling the media in front of me, yeah, we surfed pipe yesterday. And I'm like, dude, we swam pipe. I go, you know that we were with our arms and there was no board.
How bad you want to say that, though? You want to say it so bad.
Like,
he's like, we surfed pipe.
I looked side-eyed at him and surfed, huh? That's fucking dope. I was like, you almost drowned swimming. But yeah, but it is dope because you guys get injured. I mean, skateboarders, I was there when Jake Brown fucking took that dig. There's no what I'm saying about this fucking homie Jake Brown. He was one of the first mega ramp psychopaths, and it's still the worst crash wipeout, however you want to say in skate. He's off the mega ramp quarter pipe, and he's fucking 30 feet in the air. And I remember seeing it and going, "Oh my god, he just died!" Because he comes straight into the flats. His shoes went 400 feet that way and everything. And then I was the host of this thing called Surfer Bowl Awards for 10,000 people in Orange County. And we gave him best wipeout of the year. And it was a month after it happened. And the fucking guy just walked out on stage fine. And he's just such a gangster, man. I think he even skated.
He got up and walked away from that.
That was so gangster.
Yeah. I mean, that crash, you
were how old? You were a baby at that point.
I was young.
Did you see it?
9 or 10. I saw it on Instagram after.
And
but
2 years later, you did it. You started the mega ramp when you were 11.
I was skating when that happened. I was skating mega when that. Yeah, I was skating mega ramp when that fall happened. I think that they say it's about riding motorcycles too. It's it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
And I've clipped my shins at 14 feet high. I've gone almost nearly to flat. I've landed on my head off the gap. I've suffered almost every injury on that ramp besides the type that Danny's suffered and Jake, because I just wasn't big enough to go that high.
Right.
And
it's always on the quarter pipe, it seems like, right?
Yeah.
Because you have so much fucking speed. So on the mega ramp, you have this giant gap. It could go from 15 feet, right, to 30 feet.
No, it's 50 to 75.
That's so stupid. Yeah. So you go 75 feet. First, the drop. I don't even know how high it is, but for people out there, it's like dropping into a giant roller coaster. It's probably,
it's 110.
110 feet. I didn't think it was that fucking high. Oh, my God. Yeah. So you're going 110 feet straight down a vert ramp. And then you're flying over 75 feet, and they're usually doing the craziest trick. What you're saying, your main in the beginning was backflip?
Yeah, it was backflip over the gap to just 540.
So then right after he does a backflip 75 feet, you're hitting another transition that's super steep again, but a little less, but still. And a lot of you assholes check, which is so dope. You'll have so much speed in the middle of going up to the quarter pipe, they'll give a little check, which is like a slowdown, and you're like, how can you have that much stability? You just did a backflip and you're like, and then you go up to this quarter pipe that is how big?
It's
27 foot. And you're going, I hate to keep saying being dorky, but probably 30 miles per hour, 40 miles, maybe even more. And then they hit this the biggest quarter pipe in the world, and they have to figure out how to get their balance again and not fucking screw it up. It seems like that's where everything goes wrong. And even, I think it was Burnquist or someone in the very beginning goes, there's nothing like coming into that quarter pipe at that speed. It's fuck, you got to check it, or you just got to be mellow and just bail.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you hear, have you ever heard of F1 drivers talk about how when they're going that fast, everything slows down?
Yeah.
That's a lot like what you experience on Mega. It's when you hit the gap and you're floating. You're floating for 1, 2, 3, and then you land. Most of the time, when I would lose sight of my backflip, I would just start counting because I know it was 4 or 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and then when I would get down to the quarter pipe, I remember thinking if the coping's set right, I should be fine. Right. That's all I'm thinking. The coping just needs to be set right. If it's a little out,
Coping,
I'm to flat.
I gotta explain. Coping is it's a bar on top of the ramp, and you guys use that kind of to click, like almost kind of to get you not to fly too far out into the flats of the ramp on top, right?
Yes.
It almost it kind of keeps them in the transition of the ramp. So that's what's so gnarly about what we're talking about right now. If you could imagine when you see those guys go off the ramp, they actually almost ollie off the coping a little bit. Like you, how do you feel about coping? It's kind of like right when you hear your trucks hit it. Is that right when you go, okay, now I can start spinning? Or it's like kind of your setting point for your maneuver of the quarter pipe, right? The coping. Coping's everything kind of on the quarter pipe, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Tells you where
Coping's
you're
everything.
at.
Yeah,
Tells you where you're
coping's
at.
everything. Yeah, and really it's because if you mess up the tranny, like we'll feel that going slow. But like you need to be going at least 30 or 40 miles an hour to really feel how the coping's set.
Right.
And if the coping's too far out, you're to flat. The coping's too far in, you're on the deck.
So right when you hit the coping, you know, I'm bailing. This isn't going to go well.
Yes.
And that's the other thing about what we're talking about. You guys are fucking 20, 30 feet above the 25-foot ramp. You guys, 100 feet in the air. It's so stupid. And up there, they're like, not going to make it. And you guys always bail and slide on your knees down. A lot of people, especially us, if we're up that high, it's going to go so sideways if we lose our board or anything. We're just fucking cats like, ah. But you guys are so smooth the way you bail. And you're like, I'm good. And how you land on your guy's knee and slide out, I don't even understand that shit. Because I always got burns on the masonite, no matter what. But you guys just like, cruising down. The way skaters fall always impressed me.
I mean, Bob was the best at it.
Yeah,
like his tricks, like because I do big high like backside 360 indie fakies in park, like out of a flat wall, like about 5 or 6 feet out. And when I think about him doing back 720 indie to fakie at 15 feet
right?
out,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like when you pop and you turn that trick, like there is no going back. Just like 360, like if you pop and do that trick, there's no going back. You're bailing this way,
And he's
turning.
fakey, so he's actually at that move. He's backwards, right?
Yes, yeah. So he goes up the quarter pipe. He's doing a back 5. He gets done with the back 5 at the peak of the coping. So this is coping. He gets done with the back 5 here, and he floats this 360 all the way down and just barely misses the coping.
I loved his landings too. They're always just like, what? Like because he's always backwards. He's always on fakie.
He's so gnarly.
He's literally
so
the
sick.
first fakie psychopath to ever do that mega ramp. Like when he rolls in fakie, I'm like, is he out of his? So what we're talking about is if I'm a regular foot. If I go on a wave and I switch stance, I look like an asshole. You know, I'm like, oh, look at me. I can surf. I can even do little tricks, but I look like an asshole. He's going down the scariest ramp ever switch and then doing trick switch. I love when he does those switch like 360s over with no grabs.
Oh
it's just
my gosh,
so
man.
like, it looks like he's David Blaine or something. He's like, da, 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 da.
I mean, did you see Jake do the Ollie 7?
No.
Jake did an Ollie 7 over the gap one time in Brazil.
Ollie, it's a 7 is
Ollie 720. So Ollie in two
360s,
360s, two, and landed so clean.
Fuck,
like
that's
so
sick.
clean. And I remember watching that and I'm like, dude, like how'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know.
Was it a one time and done?
It was a one-time thing.
He threw his skateboard at the crowd and walked away for good.
Oh my god! Well, it was the one thing where you watch it and you're like, he won. Like
Did
I
he
don't.
win?
Whoever wins in this contest does not matter. He just ollie
Right.
720 the gap from the 75 foot. Like who cares? It's
cares?
over. Like the contest is won.
It's over. And that's what's so cool now is like Bitchy Bruce. That's what we call him. Well, because one of my friends in San Diego, his name is, we call him Bitchy Bruce. So every time I hear Mitchy Bruce go, I always call him Bitchy Bruce. But he's one of the best vert skaters with him. Mega ramp mainly, but vert too. And he made 1090. What did he make? 12?
I think it was the first 12.
12.
Yeah, he
That's
did
4.
That's 3 5s.
Full 3
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
So it's cool because Mega ramp. It seems like it's like we interviewed Colby Roja, and he's the dirt biker on the X Games. Cool as fucking shit, and it's kind of like Mega ramp. where every tournament you have to do something no one's ever done to win, which is fucking crazy. Yeah. That's a freestyle moto. It's like, front flip, fucking throw the bike away, catch it with your finger. Well, you win the next games, and the next year you got to do something even gnarlier. And that's why that sport is like, it evolves so much to where people are putting their life online too much. It's like, it's getting too gnarly. It seems like that with Mega Ramp, like where it's like you can do a technical, like you said, a double 720 fucking kickflip or ollie, sorry, and then that no one's done it since. But it seems like you guys have to have a new trick almost at Mega Ramp now to win, right?
Well, Mega Ramp's a stunt, and
Did you say stunt?
It's a stunt.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, Mega Ramp's a stunt, and I stopped skating Mega Ramp when I was 15. And I had my fun on it, but I think that any Mega Ramp skater would say that it's really dangerous. Like you're padding up every time, knowing that is imminent that you could die on this ramp, like 100%, just off of one little thing.
You're so right. That's exactly what it seems like. It's like a stunt, like a Evel Knievel show where you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Longevity though is scary. It's like
it's very scary,
dude. The park you can do for 20 years. Mega Ramp seems like eventually, like you said, it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
It is coming, yeah, and that's also why it's out of X Games now. They do the Ultra Mini Mega at Elliott's place now in Vista, and the big Mega Ramp's like retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I honestly think that's a great move from X Games to start promoting the progression of Mini Mega, because I think that is where.
Explain the mini. Is it 50 feet instead of 100? What are the size difference?
Yeah. So the mini mega, if you haven't seen it before, it's about a 50-foot roll in to a 35-foot gap to a 22, 23-foot quarter pipe.
Okay.
But that ramp is so fun for us. Like it's such a better time. You don't need to be in crazy chest pads or shin guards or anything. You can be in your normal pads. You can go out there, have so much fun, go big, but you can also be technical and have a good time. Like it's really why I love park. It's the same reason why mega skaters love mini mega. It's because I get on park and I'm like, I love being able to do flick back lip size through corners and just be able to do all these things that on a vert ramp scares me, but in a park, 9.5-foot deep end pocket with a mellow transition, that's my bread and butter.
Is there one park they built that was like, I wish this was the park that we had every time? Is there? Because I know Jewett, the guy we've been talking about, Jeff Jewett, he owned a company where he built most of the ramps for the X Games, right?
Yeah, so CA Skate Parks is Josie and Brian Harper, and they build most of the parks for all the park competitions.
Do you guys have any say in that?
We have a little bit of say.
Like you go in and go like, fuck, I don't know if I want a giant truck that I have to ollie over. These guys put these parks together nowadays. The one cool, and the last one I watched you and Jewett was there, and I saw him in the crowd, and you were like high-fiving him after each run. There was I think Pedro or someone went, I think it might have been you, where you ollie up onto a fucking roof. And you try to ollie back in somebody.
Oh yeah, that was X Games Ventura.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
that was nuts.
Yeah, so Brian and Josie, those park day designs are so rad. Like I love them every year.
Right.
But the thing that they have the balance is it's also a BMX park. So they got to make it gnarly for BMXers and for skaters. That's right. And for skaters, they make standardized obstacles like the volcano, like the deep end pocket. But then you got skaters like Pedro and Tom who are like, fuck that. Like I'm trying to jump on the roofs and they'll do it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so cool. That's why I love X Games so much is that you never know what to expect.
Right.
Like when you go to Olympic park qualifiers now, all those parks and all from street and bowl, they all have to be standardized obstacles, which is like for street, it's a 9 to 12 stair down rail and down ledge and specific obstacles for runs. And for the bowl, it has to be a specific deep end with a volcano with certain things. And in X Games, it's like they throw all this together, like have fun, and we just go there, and it's like it's the greatest.
It looks like so much fun. Have you ever been to the North Shore Park with the circular little bowl they built?
No, I've only been to the North Shore one time.
Oh, it's called Sheepside. It's out in where I grew up.
I've seen it though because I'm really good. One of my best friends is Hamana Reynolds. Okay. So his whole family's from there. Oh, and he goes back there quite a bit.
Arto, lives next door to my mom. He's part of our family. I love Arto. And we rode for Analog together for 10 years, and I love him. And he takes me down there, and I watch him and Grayson, all the kids. Oh, yeah. You seem like Grayson seems like he should be in this park contest, but he never is. Is it because he doesn't do comps?
Grayson was in a lot of the park contests when I was younger. He was in the park series and whatnot, but honestly, like it just got so gnarly so quick with this Olympic route.
Right.
Like I think a lot of us I was raised by 2 Olympic level gymnasts.
Oh God, I want you to talk about that after you keep going.
Yeah.
I saw that on there that your mom's let's keep going. I want to hear that story.
Well, yeah, my mom's a 2-time All-American Utah Ute. My dad was an amazing gymnast, and he took over his own gym when my grandpa passed away. And I just was raised by these parents who really believed in competitive sports. Yeah. And so when I was younger, my whole life was structured around competition. And it really was because my parents had no idea how to get into skateboarding, because they weren't raised around action sports at all. Right. They were raised around sports that were required winning to succeed.
Right.
And when the Olympic route came around for skateboarders, it felt like a calling. It was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like me and my family's manifested this for tens of years now. Like this is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And I think for a lot of skateboarders who weren't involved in that high sport or didn't have the perspective of competitive skateboarding like I did, they kind of got overwhelmed. Right. And that's why you hear a lot of flack coming about the Olympics becoming or the skateboarding becoming an Olympic sport, right? Because that level of sport is really kind of frowned upon in action sports. Yeah. You know, where you're competing for your country for medals and you're putting on a jersey and you're competing for something bigger than yourself.
And no other pro skater in that event has parents that have been in that same situation.
Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, you know, you look back at Nigel's upbringing and he had a really hard upbringing with his dad being very strict with him on competition and stuff. But, you know, I think that he's such an amazing competitor because of that. And I'm pretty sure he would say that, you know,
like Tiger Woods.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a lot of people, you have to be raised in a lot of adversity and pushed through a lot when you're young, you're a young athlete to be a great competitor when you're older.
And seeing your parents both achieve greatness in sports can't hurt. My dad was a pro football player for the Raiders. Wow. And Atlanta Falcons and Redskins, actually. He did it for a while. And it was like seeing a sibling do something on that level. You're like, of course I'm going to be a pro athlete. Like, they did it. I can do it, you know? And I love that your mom was a gymnast. I hate to say this. Is that when they're on the floor, or is she doing, what kind of gymnast was she?
So my mom, basically how, at least this is from what I know in gymnastics.
You weren't even fucking born when she was in that shit, right?
I wasn't born when she was a collegiate gymnast. What I know about what she did was she did floor, beam, vault, and bars.
You ever see footage of it?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a savage. My mom, you know, it's funny. A lot of people think I give my competitive edge from my dad, and I love my dad to death, but he knows. Like, my mom was gnarly. My mom competed.
They meet in the athletics. Is that how they met?
Yeah, they met through gymnastics. But my mom competed in Utah, collegiate level gymnastics for a year with gauze left in her ankle from a prior surgery. Oh, what? And she still competed
in the surgery.
Gauze was
that's how bad they were back then. They left the gauze.
They were that bad. I guess they were. It's fine. I'm scared to get surgery. I hear stories about that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
And she still competed, like, no problem.
She still competed a year. Yeah, became an All-American. Yeah, she's an amazing athlete. And but like I was saying, it's kind of a situation where the Olympics really, you gotta have the perception of it's gonna bring the best out of you. Right. You know, because if you get scared of that moment, like, those moments are all year and a half long of trials. You know,
are they just tickled to death that you're in the Olympic stuff and just competing on this level and stuff? Do they come to the comps, or do they keep distance?
No, they come to some of the competitions, but with my mom, you know, I'm really protective of my mom, you know. Right. So like I had a competition in Switzerland, so she came out for that one, which was really nice. Yeah, they're really stoked. And there's what's funny is that there's actually a curse, like the Eaton family curse of 150 years of Eatons trying to make the Olympic Games and never making it.
Oh my God. I got to be honest, man. This is going to be so fun to watch you make it and kill it this time, because we're good luck. We got Cheeto on, and he got to the world title fight. He didn't win, but fucking he's such a beast. Still never been knocked down. Still held. He's the reason why Cheeto is the dopest person in the world. He's a better human than he is fighter. He's the coolest, most underground dream life. He has the best family. He has his head in the right place. And I told him the other day on a text after he lost, I said, "You're already won." I go, "You already are the coolest, best human being in the world." I go, "Fighting is a game. But in the game of life, you win." I go, you win every day. And that's how he writes the most articulate, most thoughtful text after his loss. And that shows you what kind of man he is. And at the end of the day, your fighting career is this long. Your life is this long. And as long as you win in life as a human, the game that we play in action sports or fighting and all the stuff that we think defines us is actually the things that make us a better character or a worse character. Because if you think that defines you, then life gets really tricky after you, when you're done skating, you're going to find yourself like, what's my purpose? But Cheeto already has that purpose. When he's done fighting, he's going to be smiling every day. He loves surfing, man. He talks about surfing every day to me. It's fucking
awesome.
great. He's like, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, life builds character and sports reveals it.
Right.
I
love
think,
that.
I think that's a big thing, especially nowadays. Like, you see a lot of athletes doing a lot of really toxic, arrogant things that get attention negatively.
They need to go to jiu-jitsu.
They do need to go to jiu-jitsu.
I love that you said that earlier.
Yeah.
There's kids out there listening. Please just go to the gym one day.
Yeah.
And then your e-bike will turn into a real bike.
Yeah. Well, and I was watching that Cheeto Sugar Sean fight, and it's funny because I know Sugar and I know Cheeto.
Really?
I've never met Cheeto, but I know of him as a fighter.
Right, you would
and I know
know.
Sugar, and I was watching that in his speech, man. You hear the humility, but it's tough because the truth is that sports really don't matter.
Yeah.
It's what you like to do.
Yep.
But the truth is that how much that you can create joy in your own life, like how positive your perception is of your life, is really what catapults you into another level of consciousness. Like, if you can get to the point where sports is what you like to do and you're just obsessed with the passion of getting better, a progression of sport, and you let your life go along with just having a positive perception of who you're around and all that, like, I think it's just so important. It's why it's a big reason why I'm not on social media, and a big reason why I try to manage my distractions. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't really do anything, because I'm just like, I'm trying to manage the most positive perception I have of my own life.
Dude, I hate you. Like, I actually don't like you anymore. Like, you're 23. I'm like hopefully going to get through to you and tell you how to live your life like an old man should. And you're teaching me things, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's amazing. Your mindset's fucking dope. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to your parents. I don't know what the hell they did to you guys. They slap you in the hand every time you said something stupid. I mean, you got your shit together, and it's fucking dope. Because right now, these kids need someone to follow. And I love that you're not into social media. I got to be honest, I'm so old that I'm not into it because I'm too old. But the fact that you're not just driven by it is so good. And thank God there's more. We need more of you guys, man.
Well, I'm not driven by it because I was driven by it.
Right.
Like, all of us fall into the trap.
Right.
There's a reason why there's so much unconsciousness now, and there's so many people worrying about where they belong in the world. It's because they're looking at everybody else's life.
Fuck yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to live your own life and find your own consciousness, your own individuality, if you're constantly surrounding yourself with other people's lives and perspectives?
And then when you have something rad in your life, you have to show people.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you have to show them that you did? Just live it.
Truthfully, like, are you really enjoying that coffee shop, or are you just there posting about it?
Dude, that's
You know what I
the best.
mean?
I know. It's like, dude, just have
that's what's
coffee.
so frustrating. Like, yeah, like, and it really happened after the Olympic Games. Like, after I got my medal, I experienced the craziest high of my life. Like, and the reason why is it wasn't about the medal. 4 months before that, I broke my ankle. I tore every ligament in there 90%. And then the last competition before the games, I gave myself 2 fractures in semifinals, and my ankle was wrapped up. I was feeling it swell in my ankle. Like, it was just really bad. Like, my ankle was really bad, and I was in tons of physical pain. And when I made the team on my last trick, on my last try. I needed a 9.3 in Rome to make it. I made the team in the 3rd spot for street.
So you broke the Eaton curse.
I broke the Eaton curse.
There
Yeah.
we go. With a broken fucking hoof.
With a bad ankle. And then after I got out of the games, I got the medal. And at the time I was 19, I had like acne and skin problems. My acne cleared in a week. My acne cleared out of nowhere.
Because you finished this dream that you had to get to there.
Yeah, and I finished. I got the medal and all that, but then I got like addicted to the attention.
Right.
I got addicted to it. I fell into the trap, and I'm not saying I became an arrogant asshole or I became rude to the people that helped me get there, but I just started to appreciate the wrong things. Like, I looked at other things for gratification, not what was going on inside. And 6 months after the Olympic Games, I decided, at the time, I tore my hamstring. My labrum was torn. I was just not enjoying skating. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm getting rid of social media. I'm going to the beach every day. I'm meditating. Like, I'm just done. And that 2 weeks changed my whole perspective of what I want to do going forward. And from that point on, it's been about is just being as healthy as possible and just trying to be as positive and help people around me as much as I can. Not trying to be so engulfed in what I'm feeling. Like, most of the time when you're complaining, when it's me, there's more problems around.
Right.
You start looking out, you can help more.
Perspective is everything in life.
Yeah.
You can actually choose your happiness every single minute of the day.
So
And
true.
it's insane that when you figure that out, every time you have a bad day, it's all your fault. It's every single day. You can actually find yourself going, okay, my day was horrible because of my mindset. Like, how lucky, dude. I mean, look at how lucky we are. And the way the words come out of your mouth right now, you figured it out. It's not about being a pro skater. It's about being happy. Yeah. About being happy, being proud of your every day that you live on this planet. And at the end of each day, you lay your head to the pillow going, fuck, I can't wait for tomorrow. It's the days you wake up and you're living your life the wrong way and I don't want to get out of bed today. Like it's really, really, it's a curse and it's a blessing for people like you and I that got this amazing life handed to us. I was a prick for like 10 years because everyone wanted to be my friend and sponsors paying me and I was on magazine covers and doing my thing. And it was not the happiest time of my life. Yeah. The happiest time right now is if I go through a day and somebody was touched by my humanity or my I'm really, really compassionate towards people because I didn't have a father growing up and all that stuff. So I always try to please people. That was my thing. I please people, make them happy. I make them laugh. I'm a joker. But then I realized that all I need to do is have a good perspective and be blessed every single day about my thought process, which you have at 23. It took me 20 more years to figure it out than you. And you're going to go through it. That's the crazy thing. Right now, you have all this gift of knowledge and perspective and all that stuff. It's going to get harder. The hardest time, and I tell this to everyone that's your guys' age, 27 to 32 is the hardest time in your life because you realize you think you know everything, and then you realize you know nothing. And then you go really dark, and then that's when the skating career is going to come winding down, and you're like, oh, shit. But you already have that perspective, but I didn't, and it's really rough for all the guys like Colin and all of us older guys that when you're done being a pro, your life goes sideways because you're like, oh, shit, what do I do now? Yeah. But you already figuring it out, man, just staying healthy in your mind.
Yeah, well, I think a big part, too, of it is especially with what you're talking about like I feel like I go up and down with skateboarding all the time. Like I've fallen out of love with skateboarding, and that's gonna happen. Like you hate the things that you love, and you love the things you hate. Like that's just life. It's just the way the world works. You're supposed to find love in everything, in something. And especially when you find something that you love, you're so vulnerable to hate it. And that's a big part of of sports. And with skateboarding too, like, man, like. It causes so much physical pain. Like it is so hard to constantly
get up
love
every
it.
day and do it when you're in pain.
Like dude, I've had a growing hernia now for like a year and a half almost. And I can't get surgery because I'm in the middle of an Olympic process. Like it's like there's so much stuff that's going on that you're like, oh my God, why? Like I'm like sick. Like why do I love it? But your ego loves to attach itself to pain. Like it loves to make it a reason why you are suffering. It's because you have physical pain. Oh, you're upset. Right. You know what I mean? I think been the biggest hurdle and the hardest thing to consistently do for me is like leave that attachment to pain out of it. Like even though your ankle's blown out or your hips hurt or your ribs hurt or your neck pain, it's like that's not a reason for you to not enjoy this day. You know what I mean? You got to figure it out. Damn. You know?
You got a future in psychology, kid. This is crazy.
I mean,
fun. It's so fun because I respect you already before I met you, but you're a way better human than I could have ever dreamt of at 23. I'm blown away. She's got to have some questions that I want to hear because she comes always from a totally different perspective. But what the fuck is this kid all about? This is
I don't know. I'm sorry. You're 23. You're not like 45.
Even 45-year-olds don't talk like this. It's fun. It's fun because I can't wait to see what you do, kid. Like I already know you're going to do great thing on the skateboard, but there's something bigger out there after your skate career. You're going to be talking to kids and helping them out, and that's more important than doing a fucking giant mega ramp.
Yeah.
I also have to say you were insanely well spoken.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Like, have you had like media training?
You know, it's funny. I have had media training, but like, it's funny. I got media trained by the girl who helped Shaun White say like, I'm talking about Mountain Dews, baby. You know what I mean? I got media trained by that girl, and I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, as long as I can get close to that, I'm good. Yeah, but I haven't really been media trained. Like I don't really think about like my objective here was not to like sit here and talk about like the consciousness that I've developed. Like that's not necessarily my goal. Like I think my thing is I just manage my distractions. I read deeply from great books, and I talk to people who I think who are incredibly enlightened and educated, not necessarily academically, but spiritually. I constantly try to surround myself with people who are better than me. And I'm 100% okay leaving my ego out of the conversation. Like I'm 100% okay with being dumb around great people and just learning. I think that's a hard thing nowadays is people are trying to be somebody that they're not. I think a lot of the times, and most of the time, that search will make you go to crazy depths to try and find individuality. You know, just trying to be educated in things that make you happy, finding what you love doing, I think is like, that to me is my purpose. You know, I just want to be doing what I love doing with the people that I love, you know, and who I think is inspiring.
Fuck you, Eaton. Your parents, man. I gotta say it again. They did a good job, and it's not to keep slurping you, but yeah, I mean, honestly, we gotta go golf. This is a joke. Like, if you're gonna be this cool of a human and that swing, I gotta kick your ass,
dude.
Man.
We gotta
We're gonna
golf,
battle
man.
our asses off on the golf course. It's so dope.
What's up? Have you tried golfing or no?
I used to golf a lot when I was
Did
younger.
you?
Yeah.
I've never talked to you about golf.
My dad's really into golf.
She has a great family too. Best
that's
parents
awesome.
ever. The first time she stayed, not to stop with her golf story, but
You're good.
first time she came to Hawaii to stay with me when we started in the Poddy. She FaceTimed me with her parents and her dog and their whole family, like sitting there, and I'm like, hello. And I'm on the other side. And they're like, oh, we just want to meet you before our daughter comes over there and stays on the North Shore with you and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm Uncle Benji. Like, it's all good. I got her. She's good. But they're so sweet. They all set up in this camera. They're like, and their dog, they're rubbing the dog like, okay, so tell us a little bit about you and stuff. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? It was so cute. But it's exactly probably how amazing your parents were. They were just there to advise, but they were there to protect, but they were there to understand. And that's probably why he was a good golfer. He's fucking just like us, like good people.
My dad was also always an athlete. He played D1 football all through undergrad, grad school.
Cool.
And then my mom did gymnastics, horseback riding, and competitive cheerleading.
That's awesome.
Forever.
Okay.
So that's also a very athletic family.
Yeah.
My brother and I are definitely not anything close to competitive athletes, but so I played golf. Like, my dad signed me and my brother both up for golf camp, and we had to do it from like age 6 to like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. It was like, we liked it as soon as we were out there until we had to carry our clubs. Then we were not stoked. I haven't golfed in like a long time. But I think now being able to drive golf carts and not have to carry my bag for 18 holes, I'd probably like it a lot more.
Well, it's a lot more peaceful than getting kicked in the face on a Saturday morning. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get kicked in the face on a Saturday morning. I'm like, you know what? I think I'd rather just go golf, Dad. Like, I think we should do that for the pastime.
Yeah, my friends would drown, and I'd be like, I want to stay over here on this grass. Like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
But do you have any questions? I'm kind of interested. She's always comes up with these rad questions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know your parents like encouraged you guys to do competitive sports like from a very early age, but was there a specific moment when, like with skateboarding, that you're like, okay, yeah, this is my calling, like I am going to be a professional?
Yeah, did you do other sports when you were a kid? Did they push you into gymnastics at one point?
Yes, yeah. Me and my brother did tons of other things. We raced motocross when we were really young. We did gymnastics. I played soccer. I did all sorts of different things. And you know, when you say like your parents encourage you to do competitive sports, it's funny because I don't, like my parents, it never felt like they're like, you need to do this. They're just like, oh, you're interested in this? Okay, let's wrap your whole world around it.
Right.
Like my parents were just so supportive. Like I had the best parents. Like when me and my brother fell in love with skating, at the time I was 4 and my older brother was 6, and we could not get off our boards. So my dad built us a mini ramp in our garage at the house. And we just could not do it. In the summertime, we're sweating 114 degrees. We're in the garage, like white beater and all, just like Arizona white trash, just skating. And what ended up happening was my dad at the time was coaching gymnastics for 12 hours a day at the gymnastics gym that we owned in Mesa. And he's like, okay, how can I create an environment for these kids to fall in love with skating, but do it in a safe environment for 12 hours a day without the heat? So my dad started building skate ramps in the back of the gym. Just on his own.
Because you guys, by the way, Arizona, born and raised.
Born and raised.
And no joke heat. And so he's building this so you guys can skate all summer in AC.
Yes. And he just built it. And like it's nuts.
Did he know how to build a ramp?
No.
Like, how did he learn
didn't.
online or something?
No, he didn't. And what he ended up doing was he went to local skate parks with us on like Saturdays and Sundays, and he would go and make conversation with the other skaters to try and get some enlightenment on how to do it. Wow. Like, and you talk about like the vulnerability that it takes for a father to do that. My dad is just a whole different level of human, and he did that. And now we franchise that idea at KTR. We own 7 facilities across Arizona and Utah that are like skate parks.
And what was that RIP? I saw that on about that. said R.I.P. and then A. What is it? What's the initials of your skate parks?
Oh, the what?
The ones you're talking about, the skate parks that you guys own or
Oh,
started.
Kids That Rip.
Kids That Rip.
Yeah, Kids
so it's
That Rip.
Kids That Rip. KTR.
Yeah, KTR.
I was wondering what that stood for. Kids That Rip.
Yeah, Kids That
That's
Rip.
So fucking
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And you guys do charity things for kids and teach them how. It said you do urban skate lessons for kids and stuff.
Yes, we have a couple of different things. So KTR Mesa is like ground zero for KTR, and what we do there is basically child development. So we have we have coaches and curriculums and all things for kids all the way from 4 years old to 15. And basically what it's like is your whole life you just get better and go up in groups. And then by the time you're at the elite level group, you work with my older brother who's the coach and does all the curriculum stuff for KTR, and he will basically write you a curriculum to compete. And so he does that. And the KTR franchises, we have one in Chandler and Glendale, Scottsdale, Ahwatukee. Those KTRs are basically, they're like family action sports playgrounds. So there's a skate park, but there's state-of-the-art trampolines and airbags and all sorts of stuff. So that's basically a place for kids to like put down the phone and go play all day and just have fun.
And that's like your own little Woodward. Like in Arizona, you guys kind of created your own Woodward. Is it called Woodward?
Yes, yeah, Woodward. Yeah, that's a lot like what it's like.
Kind of, you guys give these kids opportunities. I hate your family. It's just insane.
Yeah.
What a really, you guys have such great love for humans. It's fucking dope. This is so cool. And you, I saw you planting trees somewhere in South America, right? Or is it Costa Rica?
That's Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, it's Mexico?
Yeah, it's Mexico.
I did that with Etnies.
That's awesome.
Me and
Okay.
Scheckler went to Costa Rica. We went to Brazil to plant trees. You know, you buy a shoe for Etnies. When I rode for him, you would plant a tree. So me and Scheckler were in the fucking complete forest in the middle of nowhere planting these trees and doing some bullshit. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was so fun, but it's looked like you're doing that as well. What was that? You guys were planting trees and taking care of people down there?
Yeah, so there's a new hotel development, or basically like environmental activation or activity, basically, in about 2 hours south of Puerto Vallarta in this place called Chala.
Okay.
And Chala is it's a town in Mexico that a hotel developer named Ricardo, he bought the size of Orange County in land in Mexico around Chala to basically build up that community.
Cool.
And
for the locals.
Yeah, for the locals. Yeah. So what we do there is we plant trees, and we put a skate park there for the locals.
This is through your guys' foundation?
This is through the Heart Supply. So the board brand that I ride for with Johnny Schill, who started Element. We started a board brand called the Heart Supply. And basically our whole goal is to give skateboards to kids and to promote the progression for kids in underprivileged areas for skateboarding. Damn. Yeah, so we put up a skate park in Chala. We also, we put our boards out at Target now, and
Is this Element you said you ride for?
No, this is the Heart Supply. The Heart Supply is a
name of the board?
a different board brand.
Who do you ride for? Who are your sponsors? Red Bull, obviously. You know, son of a bitch. When Red Bull gets a hold of one of these guys, man, it's all Red Bull all day.
Yeah. Red Bull was my first. They were the first people I ever had a conversation with.
I've never seen a sponsor support like Red Bull. Ian Walsh is one of my best friends. Yeah. He would be like, I'm going to Switzerland to go on this freaking heli trip with Red Bull. And then I'm going on this. And Mark McMorris, all this stuff. And it looks like you're the same. And they're just the greatest sponsor, right? They take care of you. I saw you do F1 shit. I got to do that this summer, too. I got to go with Mark McMorris to Austin Mountain, and got to go in the pit, do the whole thing in Belgium. But I saw, where was that F1 race you're at? Is that
so I've been to two. I've been to one in Miami and one in Austin.
Sick.
Yeah, and I loved them so much.
I saw you with the Ferrari though. Is that okay to say? Because where was the Red Bull guys?
With a Ferrari? I ain't with no Ferrari.
I saw you doing the. Were you doing the simulator?
I was doing a simulator.
How was that?
I'm trying to remember where that was because I just signed with IWC as well. So then IWC is partnered with Lewis Hamilton.
What's IWC?
IWC is a Swiss watch brand.
Of course, you'd have a Swiss watch brand.
Yeah. They've been a great partner for about a year and a half now, and and they're partnered with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes for F1 as well. So I kind of do both. I go with Red Bull and do some stuff with Max, and then do some with Lewis. And actually, I played a basketball game with Lewis Hamilton. He's a super dope dude.
He's rad. I took him surfing at Pipeline.
You did?
Yeah.
That's so sick.
He broke my fucking board. Yeah.
He broke your board?
He broke my 7.0. Yeah. He charges. He went on like a 6-foot wave and broke my board. Yeah, dang. Lewis is cool. He always comes to North Shore. He's really good friends with Slater. Stays at his house and shit.
That's awesome.
And yeah, the Formula One's so fun to watch and be a part of. It's like an event rather than you don't even see the race. You're just seeing that and it's over, and you're like eating like filet mignon in the pit. Yeah. It's just another level.
Yeah,
but
that's amazing.
other sponsors. Who's your shoe sponsor? What is that?
Karima. Yeah, I signed with them a few years back, and they've been a super dope sponsor to have. I actually about to have a pro shoe for the first time ever. Red, white, and blue.
Is that I see your name on there?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm so pumped on
That's
that.
so fun. Skating, it's for surfers. We have pads, that you put on your board. Kelly and a few people had a shoe, but it doesn't make any sense for surfers because we wear shoes. But that's cool. That's like the pinnacle. And you got to design that thing?
Yeah, I got to design it. Just red, white, and blue.
Is it a good skate shoe?
So it's a great skate shoe. And I honestly, for me, I love looking down to white shoes.
Yeah.
Like I think that's always been a thing for me. Like white leather shoes, skating. It's always been my favorite. So I've been with them for a few years now. Chipotle, Delta, Samsung,
the sandwich or the Mexican food.
Yeah.
You were sponsored by Chipotle.
Yeah.
Well, who
yeah.
else? Keep going. I love.
Samsung, Delta, Polo.
Get the fuck out of here.
Polo. Yeah.
You ride for their clothing.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. Most of these sponsors are Olympic cycle sponsors because they're like, that's when they do most of their
golf
promo.
though, probably.
Polo.
You get some tight polo shit for golf.
Yeah, Polo's fire. Yeah, I got decked out in Polo stuff for the Pro-Am, which was super sick. Yeah, they saw that I was competing, and they sent me stuff out, and it's awesome. I mean, it's another thing why like the Olympic Games is just so cool for skateboarding. Like it just legitimizes what we do. I think that's so special. That these brands get to get involved with skateboarders on this level, and it's very special.
I mean, dude, you're living in a time where you guys are a real sport, and skateboarding. When I was a kid, the last thing you would ever think was going to be in the Olympics. And a lot of pro skaters that I grew up with would probably frown on it, like we were saying.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that way. It should be like, finally, do we get the respect that we deserve? Like you, McMorris, and all these guys that are in this new generation, you guys get to hang out with Snoop Dogg. You guys get to go around and represent your country and do all these things. It shouldn't be frowned on. It should be like, finally, we're progressing to a real status of athlete. When I was a kid, I'd roll my board back through an airport, and they go, "Is that a dead body? Oh, it's a surfer. Oh, you're homeless." Like it was literally like a joke. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm a pro surfer," and they're like, "Oh, that's cute." But now you're like, "Holy shit, you're a pro skateboarder."
Yeah.
They think of you as a real athlete, which you are. So this is good times to be you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so blessed. And I think a lot of people are just afraid of things they don't understand.
Right.
With the Olympic Games coming in, they think that's going to take some of the creativity or the fun or the perspective off of skateboarding, but it really only enlightens it and shows it just shows how special and unique it is on a whole different level. I've always said this since the beginning. I think the Olympic Games is one of the greatest things for skateboarding because for the people for the skaters who want to film parts and who want to do the core skateboarding route, you're going to get more viewership. You're going to get more people interested in that route as well. And for the skateboarders who want to compete on a real level and actually compete for their country, put the jersey on and win medals for something bigger than themselves, like we have a route now. Yeah. And it's so special and it's lucrative and it's healthy, which is so dope. Like it's such a cool route to be taking right now and to be hopefully to be on both of the first two teams. Like that's just for me, like that's the whole goal. I'm just trying to make both teams be able to go again because the Olympic Games is unlike anything.
It's in Paris, right?
It's in Paris, yeah. But
where was the first one you did?
Tokyo
and Paris. That's sick.
Yeah, and that, man, like walking in the Olympic Village, like that feeling.
Oh yeah, you got to walk the walk, right?
Well, I mean, I stayed there for like 7 days in an apartment with me, and it was me, Nigel, and Jake. And
do you guys do the walk in the ceremony?
Yeah, we did the opening ceremony.
Is that just insane? Chicken skin style?
It's just unbelievable. Like it's the craziest. Like it's the craziest feeling. Like when you're there and like that nervousness, the anxiousness, the excitement. Like it's the biggest day of your life in sports. Like it's the biggest day. That time when you walk out and you got that jersey on and it's time to compete for your country, it is a whole different meaning. Yeah. There's not one contest that compares to that.
Yeah, Slater even said it. He's like, the last goal I have is to get on the Olympic team, and he almost made it. He made it by like one heat. He missed it. Yeah. And if for someone that is as accomplished as any athlete's ever walked this planet wanted to do that, it shows you how important it is to even the GOAT. The GOAT he still feels that that's the pinnacle of our sport is to be an Olympic athlete. So pretty freaking cool. I can't imagine what your parents were thinking when you're making that walk. And coming from America, and they play when you got your bronze, they do your anthem, right? Yeah. And where you just like mom's just bawling.
Well, my parents weren't able to go.
Oh, they weren't there in Japan?
Yeah, because it was COVID. Yeah, they weren't able to travel.
Right. Yeah, which was
That was unfortunate. I just did a whole thing with NBC about that. You know, a lot of athletes came forward and talked about it, and it was really harsh. Yeah, because all I want to do is come home, and all I want to do is just see them. You know, I just want to see them and be able to like share that moment, because like for me, like that medal meant so much more. Like the curse is done.
Totally.
Like the
and when
curse
you
is
got back
over.
to Arizona, did they do any like big thing for you or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
we definitely had a party, and we kicked it. Yeah, it was super rad. It was just it was the first contest ever where it felt like a state win. It felt like Arizona. Like Arizona's not known for a lot of things. Like we're the Grand Canyon State, you know. But now it's like we're kind of like we're on the map for skating.
Did Jet get to go?
Jed did not get to go. No, my whole goal is to get my whole family out. In Paris.
I love hearing that he's a coach and shit too. With your mindset, he's probably exactly like you. He's probably teaching a lot of kids some great values and stuff.
Oh my gosh, he's an amazing coach. And I think for me, I appreciate him doing that job because I know a little bit about how important that job is to the kids, like how fulfilling it is for yourself as well. You know, like that's such a great job. Yeah, like you really are a part of molding these kids into the humans that they're going to be.
And he's only 25, right?
He's only 25.
That's crazy.
And at the same time, like I still remember all of my coaches. I remember their names. I remember what they laughed at. I remember what they made me laugh at. I remember their board setup. Like Jewett, for a great example. I remember everything about Jewett. And I still to this day, we get coffee, and hopefully he's a coach for Team USA going into Paris. And, you know, we just keep that relationship, and it's such a special role, you know, such a special role.
I'm just realizing that I can take advice because when you're trying to do hard shit, if you can be like you, humble enough to take the advice, you're so much further along than everyone in your age. If you can actually say the words that you just said, you're so much further along than most kids that are trying to do what you're doing. Because when you're in it, your ego, and you have to be so confident, and you think, I don't need help from anyone. Fuck that shit. I got this on lock. But you really insecurity underneath that all is just like, oh, I wish I was listening to that. I did make that mistake and that. Yeah. And you've been that mindset for so long, and now your brother's doing it for other kids. It's pretty important, man.
I mean, when you talk about not knowing, like I think that's a big consciousness step when you realize that. Like when you realize you don't know. Yeah. And now it's time to rebuild. Like that's when your mind can take two other routes. Right. When you don't know, you can stay there and identify with all your issues about you not knowing. Or you can put that ego aside and start to build on the education that you're going to gain from that. Like I think that's a big part of just the whole journey of choosing happiness. Because it is so hard. It is so hard. And it will always be hard. Yeah. Right? Like there are so many things in this life materially that will give you temporary fulfillment. There are so many things, and most of our lives are surrounded by them. Totally. You know, and now we're in a place where it's almost hard to even see your life happy without having significant material items.
Yeah, things.
Which is nuts. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. You can take everything away, and if that's your happiness, then good luck.
Yeah,
like whatever.
For real.
Right? There shouldn't be anything except that's like heartfelt. Like this watch is from Jake Burton. It's my life, you know, like it's a watch, but it's my life because it's meaningful. But if you took everything I own, the electric bike, not the electric bike, don't steal that. But every fucking thing. I just got my first clubs.
Don't take them.
Just don't take the one wedge I got from Adam Scott, please. And everything else, take. I don't give a shit. No, but there's like those things that I have a stick over there that me and Timmy Carpenter, that's Jake's youngest son, and it's a piece of driftwood, and we towed behind a jet ski. We didn't have anything. We found this driftwood, and it should have broken half. The whole day we're towing behind this thing, and I keep it as a memory thing. It's a piece of wood, right? It has a little string around it because we found the string. And that thing's more, if the house got robbed and that was gone, I'd be like, oh my God, the fucking piece of wood. And that's so weird to think that there's really expensive shit in my house, but that's the thing that would kill me because it's not a thing to me. It's actually a possession of my happiness, like that brought so much joy to me. This stick, So it's like, obviously you have material shit that doesn't bring you happiness, but what's cool is that if you have a great life, you have good perspective. When you get an electric bike for the first time, which I got a couple weeks ago, you're on it like, holy shit, this is so fun.
Those e-bikes are so fun.
Every day I'm like, fuck, I'm not having a good day. I'm going to go on this fucking bike. And I go by all the little kids pedaling because I like to pedal and have the electric. So I was like, ah. And, it's fun. It's fun to live in this time and hear someone your age actually thinking at my age in my 40s, thinking, I wish these kids could get it because I'm so further along. I get it. And I'm there smiling, out of shape now, not as happy as I was healthy. But then when I see someone your age that's totally in a place where you could be so disrespectful to your own self, your well-being with ego and fucking bullshit, and you're not, it's so encouraging because hopefully we had Rose Machado on last time, and everyone thinks of her as Rob Machado's daughter. That's a model. But then when I got to pull out her life story, because I know her, she had to go to a little island off Reunion. It's a French island in the middle of South Africa, and her best friend got eaten by a shark. She fucking just wanted to come back to California and grow up in here. Hannah Montana was her idol. She's like, I can go to California and be Hannah Montana. She came here at 13 and said, look at all this opportunity. Look at this. I could be anything I want, like anything. But if she grew up here her whole life, she'd be in pajamas, smoky pen, electric bike, nightmare on her phone the whole time. But she's just like you. She doesn't drink, smoke, nothing. And she's driven by things that make her whole. And it's... To see the generation of you guys, she's going to inspire that. By the way, the song at the end that she sings, I cry every time, man. I hate that. That made me so happy, but I hate it. She's beautiful voice. She sang to her grandpa. It made us cry. But to see both you guys at the she's 23, 22, about the same age.
22.
And to see these young kids get to hear your story and see that they can actually think like a 50-year-old wise man or woman, it's insane. It gives me hope. Yeah. I thought you were going to be this douchey fucking asshole that was social media driven, nightmare, all this stuff. And to find out that you're way cooler than anybody that's been on this podcast makes me upset. Because these kids actually do have a future, man. Just follow the right people out there, you guys, if you're listening. Follow the right people, and this is one of them. Think for yourself. Find happiness through hard work. And just fucking live every day to the fullest and be good to people. Be good. Just be a good person. It's so much better to live life if you're nice, right?
It's so much easier. There's just less restriction, less friction. I mean, and to go back to Machado family, I love Rose. Rose is so rad.
Oh, so you know Rose?
Yeah, I've known Rose for a while now.
She actually, on one of your things this morning when I'm looking at it, had a like Rose Machado. I'm
cool. Rose is super rad. And I didn't know Rob well. And I met Rose about a year and a half, or about 3 years actually before I met Rob. And I met Rob at the pit of the Morgan Wallen concert at the Petco.
No way.
At Stadium. Yeah, I met him there. And before Morgan came on, dude, I picked Rob Machado's brain for like an hour and a half. Right. And it was the greatest conversation because he taught me so much about perspective of competing and how to enjoy it. Like, I actually picked his brain on like the way his parents were and what his thoughts were with competition.
His mom was a pro tennis player.
Yeah. Well, he also talked like my dad, notoriously, I think a lot of people have the perspective. Like, if you know me and my career, you know it's like Jagger and his dad. My dad's always been pretty tough on me as a kid. And I love my dad to death, and I understand why he did it now, but at the time I didn't,
Yeah, Jim, his dad was he ran the NSSA.
Yeah.
He was the man. He was a contest guy.
Yeah, and when I talked to Rob about him and his dad's relationship, he brought up one story about how his dad, when he came into paddle after he got done with the wave, and came into shore, and his dad told him to like breathe. And he's like, why don't you take breaths in between your heat so you're not exhausted? Right. Yeah. And so he came into shore, took a breath, and then paddled back out during a heat. And it was like a rare thing to do instead of like just
he came all the way in, took a break, took
a breath, and then went back out. Whoa. Right. And I thought like he probably didn't think I made much of that story, but I actually took that story into perspective because I started thinking, I'm like, what type of advice did my dad give me that helped me like that? Like, my dad always had like my dad's always had the greatest intentions for me. He always just wanted me to succeed. And like when I started to have that perspective, like he just wanted to help me, our relationship got so much better. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I just love that whole family.
Did he say anything that stuck with you like that? Rob's dad saying breathe? Did your dad ever do anything to say like, hey, come in here, take a break, or mentally that stuck with you that helped?
Oh my gosh. My dad said so many things to me that is just, that has stuck with me forever. I mean, this quote alone, he said, you can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. Like he's dropped so many pieces of knowledge on me over these years, and he's molded me into the man that I am, But
what's your pop's name?
Jeff.
And mom's?
Shelly
and Jeff. I can't wait to meet you guys. This is insane. And same with Jet. That must be a fun Christmas every year. You guys get together and just.
Well, I also have a younger brother named Costin. So
I didn't know you had another brother.
Yeah, so I have an older brother Jet, younger brother named Cost, who's 15, or actually just turned 16.
Is that because Eric Costa?
Yep. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. My mom saw Eric Costa's name on the back of a black and gold independent truck when I was a kid.
I love that story.
Yeah.
And then, how much younger is he?
He is 15.
And he loves skateboarding?
Dude, he rips. He's competing in Phoenix Sand this next weekend. Yeah, so he
so
ribs.
cool.
Yeah.
He's named after one of the goats.
Yeah, and then my dad was remarried to my stepmom Danny, who's an amazing woman as well, and they had Hendrix and Bowie, and Hendrix is the only girl in the family who's 9.
There's a Jagger and a Hendrix in your family? What are we
Yeah,
doing here?
Hendrix and Bowie. Cool. Yeah, Hendrix actually. You talk about horse racing. Hendrix barrel races.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I used to do that.
Yeah, so my family's pretty into rodeo. And
Wait, how old are the young ones?
10 and 7.
Sweet, you got a big family. That's
Yeah,
cool.
we got a big family. Yeah, it's pretty special.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you guys all do a lot of different sports.
Mm-hmm.
What sports do you do when you're like, I need to just not look at a skateboard for like a couple days?
It's always golf.
Just golf?
Yeah, it's always golf. I wake up every morning around 6:40, 7 o'clock, and I get in the ocean. Like every morning, no matter what time of year. I've been doing that for a while now.
Get in like surf or just swim?
Just swim, yeah, board shorts. Just get in, get in the ocean. I love that. If that's like my pastime when I need to get rid, like when I hate my skateboard, most of the time it's something that I'm complaining about. Because when I'm enjoying my life, when I'm happy and content, I love skateboarding. But when outside distractions get in the way of something, I tend to not love skateboarding as much. And so when I'm like, I need to get rid of my skateboard, most times it's like, okay, I need to do something spiritual. Like I need to read, or I need to go get in the ocean. I need to be around my family, right? But like most of the time, I love skateboarding. Hopefully it stays that way.
Wow. I love that you go in the water even if it's cold. That's a boss move right there.
That's gangster to bareback in California in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, cold water is the greatest way to get rid of visceral body fat.
Yeah, did you see that? I got the cold plunge out there.
You got the cold plunge out there? I didn't
jump
see
in
it.
on the way out. Head first. When we did Slater's podcast, because he loves those things, and we dialed it in, everything, but it was cold. Remember that night? It was cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're getting in for sure. We both didn't do it. Like, it's just been sitting there freezing since then. But yeah, those things do. Like the sauna, all the new treatment too. Like I'm sure you've been injured more than any 23-year-old in the world. Just like you saw that thing, McMorris. Did you see Mark McMorris yesterday? Yeah, he's coming home in a few days. I'm going to hang out with him. Knee went right into his eye, broke his cheekbone. He got smoked.
Oh no!
And I mean, our sports. I even put on his Instagram. I said the reason why we're cool is because our sports are dangerous, and it's true, man. I mean, what we do is the hardest thing about it is to keep it going after all these injuries. Like you said, when you're hurt, it shows you who you really are, especially in these sports. It's like everyone's always hurt. There's no one out there that's not injured in our sports. There's always something.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's one of the hardest things, right? Is that you want to be like me. Oh no, my knee is fractured. Oh no, I got a bad ankle. Oh no, but at the same time you're like,
everyone has it.
I know everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and really what it's like is who's got enough grit to push through it.
So true.
You know, and who's got enough grit to not let it eat them alive. Like to not be sitting there on the couch being like in 2 boots being like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? Yeah. And someone's being like, oh, I'll heal.
Or like golfers that like get in a golf cart and leave because their back's not feeling good. You know, like someone. And you're like, oh, okay, you're out. You're done. You're just second round, mid round. I'm out. Yeah. And you're like, is your injury that bad? You're like, Eaton is fucking going down a 12-step fucking handrail in a contest and he has a broken hip. Like, let's go, Tiger. Let's pick it up here, buddy. No, but it's true. It's like every single sport has no idea. Like fighters, man. Fighters is the gnarliest. Every time the fight's over, they're like, yeah, I have a broken arm. Like, I had it all training camp, but I didn't want to not miss this fight. You're like, you have a broken fucking arm? You know, those guys are the most gangster people ever. I mean, all of our sports are. Like Colby, the motherfucker broke his back. Like, guys, that sport is
like cracked his pelvis in
his
half.
pelvis, and then he wins the fucking X game after we talked to him. He was in the Ventura one. That's why I was watching it so hard, and that's where I saw a lot of you and Jewett. I was stoked to see that. But our boy Colby, we did the podcast a month before that. He's like, yeah, Ventura's like basically my home turf because he lives in the valley there. And he won. And it was so cool right after we did the podcast to see him go, this is my one. I want to win more than anything. And he won it on his last run, right?
And he set a new world record.
He set a new world record.
That's awesome.
And he had a broken pelvis a year before it or something. Broken everything.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half. He fractured his back, broke his pelvis in half. And then he like also just got surgery on his both shoulders because they kept popping.
She's really good friends. She filmed him a lot.
Yeah, I worked on his movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, dope.
Yeah, she's a really gnarly filmer.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and he told us about a trick that it was 150 feet. He had a GoPro, and when he crashed, it was the worst accident of his life.
Distance jump. He was trying to break a world record distance jump, which was currently about 400 feet.
Oh God.
So
twice as far as I remember.
Yeah. So they set up the ramp, and I didn't know that he had this whole big injury because my team didn't go out to film that one. And then we went out for the second jump when they had a new team that was doing, 'cause it's all math, you know, like the angle of the ramp with the angle of the landing. And the first team, I guess, didn't do the math quite right. And so he hit the jump the first time. And it was like literally the practice run that he wasn't trying to boost it super far, just like, okay, I'll get to it.
Which was like probably only like 300 feet.
Yeah, no, it was
So
the
nice.
jump. It was like 125, 150. I've seen him backflip 250 feet.
Jesus
But
Christ.
the angle of it was so off that he clipped the front lip of the landing and got sent flying another 100 and something feet and just
Wow.
And the GoPro was on.
with audio too.
And he he said the audio later when they watched it is him just screaming from bloody murder, like,
It's
and
in
it's
his movie.
just, it's like heart wrenching. You're like, holy shit. Yeah. But see, luckily in surfing, we just die. We just drown. So it's like, you don't have to hear screaming and all that stuff. Or, I broke it's surfing. I've lost 5 my best friends in the world surfing. But in skating, it's like the worst injuries, but you don't die, luckily. That's why I always love skateboarding. It's like the worst injury is you're still alive. That's surfing. We drowned. It sucks. It's just like bye forever. So I know that's a really dark little comment there. Sorry, but I would be with Danny Way and Travis Pastrana. We were sponsored by the family. Remember the family? Not sponsored, but that was our agency. So we go to New York on trips for these internet things and all this stuff, and they would talk about their injuries. I'm like, holy shit. He's like, broke my back, broke my hip. Travis Pastrana and Danny Way talking back their injuries. And I was like, God damn it. I'm like, I've had a spine injury. I've had torn ACLs and stuff, but I was like, and then I told them about how my best friend drowned in front of me and all this stuff. And they're like, ooh, that's kind of bad. But I'm like, yeah, but you have 2 broken backs. Like Danny Way's body is like a specimen of injury. He's like, he goes to that stem cell probably every weekend just for fun. Like,
It's incredible what medicine's gotten to with healing
His
it.
mom had fucking gauze in her fucking injury.
Yeah.
The doctor's like, oops, sorry about that one. He's like drinking his coffee. Fuck, man. Yeah. Nowadays, you guys can bounce back a lot quicker for sure. But so what's the plan right now for the next few months for you? Are you going into compete? Where are we at right now on your tour?
Yeah, so the next few months look like the Olympic tournament or Olympic qualifier in May in Budapest, May 15th. And then June is Shanghai, and that's back to back.
So these are the 2 big ones that you have to get. There are 50, 100.
Yeah, I just need to be top 3 Americans in both.
Sweet.
In both contests, and I'll make the team. And that's the goal.
That's fucking cool, man. We're going to be biggest rooting fans ever, especially more or less now that I know you're a good human. It's just like Cheeto. Cheeto, I was a big fan. I met him at the surf ranch and everything. And I'm like, God, he seems like a really good person. And I went to his home, met his family and shit. And I was like, oh, no, I love you. And then I'm watching you fight. I'm like, God damn it. I've never had that feeling. It's watching it right here on this TV. Every punch, I'm like, fuck that. Okay. And then at the end, he gets that liver shot. And I'm like, oh, and everyone's watching here. I'm so into MMA. Me and Slater are the biggest UFC fans in the world. And that liver shot, I was like, he got him. And no one else was like, what are you talking about? No, you guys. And he like fully buckled. You saw the
buckled,
fight.
yeah.
He buckled. I was like, oh, he could get him. He could get him right here. And then after the fight, he just sits down. You can tell he's like, fuck, good thing this wasn't going further. Like he finally got him. And for me, I love Cheeto so much. I don't know Sean, and he's dope as fuck too. But I was rooting so hard for him that it was the hardest fight I've ever watched. I was like, no, oh, come on. And I was like yelling and shit. And usually I watch the fights, I just watch them. And now when I had investment, it's like now I'm going to be watching your stupid ass fucking skate contest going, come on, Jagger. Oh, don't fall down. Yeah. Then if you win, I feel like I'm a part of it. It just gives you purpose when you like somebody and they compete. It's like my boy Adam Scott's one of my best friends in the world. And every time he competes, he's in there. I freak out. When he won the Masters, dude, we went to Cabo a few days later, and he came with me, and we would have a Cabo trip every April. And he just won the Masters, and we're down there driving ATVs on the beach, fucking tequila shots, and he doesn't drink, barely. And he tells the story. He's like, remember that day, like noon, we were doing tequila shots? And I'm like, yeah, every fucking day I do it at noon. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? He's just such a dope-ass motherfucker. And when he won, it was the first Aussie to win the Masters, and I love geeking out on golf with you because when he won and he puts his arms up, like, first we made the putt. on 18 to get in the playoff. Remember that putt?
I did not watch his win.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
it's the best Masters of all time. Angel Cabrera, they go in the playoff. They both stick it to 1 foot to get in the playoff, and then they on the 10th he drains a 12-footer. It's my favorite golf tournament of my life because it's one of my best friends, and I could just feel it. It was like a relief for me because I know how much that's the tournament he wanted to win.
Yeah.
So like when you win the Olympics, don't think I'm not going to be fanboy. You know what I mean, I'm gonna have like a fake gold, you know, the ones that have chocolate you can peel off. I'll be like, look at this, this is Jagger's. But yeah, man, it's gonna be exciting because just like Cheeto, you're winning already, and I'm like, you're a freaking little Buddha, and I dig it, and I think that so many people are gonna benefit from your perspective of life, and that's what these kids need. They need role models.
I appreciate you guys having me here, and I also appreciate those questions too. I appreciate you picking my brain on that stuff. Again, like I said, like I don't ask anybody to do anything that I don't do myself.
Right.
And I've felt the highs of the attention of the fake attention. I've also felt the lows of it.
Right.
And I think that life's just better when you can manage your distractions. That's all.
I don't know what drugs your parents gave you when you were a kid, but fuck, everyone needs to take that drug, right? It's fucking amazing, dude. It's going to be cool, too, because when I do finally meet your parents, I'm going to be like, can I stay at your house for like a year? And like, can we talk shit? Like, talk shop. And Jet, too. Does Jet live in Cali or is he in Arizona?
No, he's in Arizona. All my family's back in Arizona. I moved out here.
Where in Arizona are you from?
18. Mesa.
Is that by Phoenix?
Mesa's like 30 minutes south.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was growing up in Arizona? Was it a trip?
Growing up in Arizona was the greatest. I mean, yeah, I think that you really get a benefit a lot of like the vastness of the desert when you turn 16. Like when I was 16, I got a 4Runner. I got big tires on it, big lift kit. If you're from Hawaii, you know that, like the big 4Runner.
You got the big boy out there?
Yeah, so I had a 4Runner and I took it out to the desert, got lost with my buddies all day. We'd go to the lake, wakeboard, surf. Like that was always to me, like when I turned 16, that's all I wanted to do.
But you live here?
I live here now, yes.
And do you spend a lot of time over there?
I try to go back home as much as I can. Like I recently just fractured a little bone in my knee, my tibia plateau, and I went back home for about 2 weeks just to heal. And when I go back home, it's just amazing. You know,
all your besties, fucking cruising.
all my besties, but also like it's amazing to be 23 and have young siblings. Like to have like a 10, 7-year-old like Hendrix and Bowie. I love Costin to death, but 16-year-olds are hard to be around.
Right.
If you've been around modern 16-year-olds, they're just tough to be around. Tell that to his face. But I love him to death, and also being involved in his skate career as much as I can, giving him some perspective. But man, Hendrix and Bowie, like just watching her ride horses, watching Bowie like love skating too, and it's just crazy to watch that. Like, cause I don't remember anything in my childhood. I don't remember.
You're watching what you were like when you were a
like
kid.
I don't even remember being 15. Like I barely remember a lot of my childhood. It could accumulate to the head hits. It could be like PTSD. I don't know what it is, right? But I just don't remember much of my childhood. And watching them fall in love with skating and watching my little brother compete and that nervousness, the anxiousness, like it's just amazing.
I just realized Bowie, Jagger, and Hendrix. Your parents hate music. It sounds like that is so
Or their
fucking
life is
cool.
just completely surrounded by it.
No, his parents just have the best music taste.
Yeah, well, obviously, right? And that is so cool that you love your little siblings too, and you're not some douchey guy that's like, I was gone. You know, with surfing, you travel really far places. It's cool that you guys can stay stateside about 30, 40, 50% of the time. There's not too much overseas, right?
I mean, there hasn't been one Olympic qualifier in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So most of the time they are like always abroad. But yeah, I mean, if I could in a heartbeat, I'd move back home. Right. If I could in a heartbeat, just to be near them. But
you think
really,
that's where you're gonna live your rest of your older life?
Yeah, of course.
Arizona?
Yeah, I'll buy a ranch out there, have horses, and I'll do the whole country lifestyle.
You can handle the weather. It's normal for you, right? In the summer?
That's no problem. Yeah, that's no
big
problem. That's the lifestyle that my family's been doing, and that just to me is home. You know, home is that life. And
does Pops do any sports? Does he golf?
Yeah, Pops golfs. Yeah.
Golf?
Yeah, he golfs. Yeah,
He must love your swing.
I beat him on Easter 2016, and since then it has been tough golfing together because we're so competitive. But
No way. He balls out though, huh? Obviously.
Yeah, he's a good golfer.
So
Yeah.
what's your handicap?
I'm about a 3 or 4 now.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time, you know, I feel like I've been scratched, but like 3 or 4 now, really the swing changes I'm making, getting my grip a little bit more weak.
It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait. Let's go Del Mar Country Club and let's dance.
whenever
That's
that's
a tough track. There's a few tough holes there. For sure.
Yeah, since I became a member there, like I feel like I've gotten such better of a golfer. You know,
Oh, dude, I love it. My best friend is the head pro at NCS Ranch. You ever met Doug Timmons? Mm-mm. And he's Canelo Alvarez's coach. And he gets to fly over the world in his private jet. And he had just got back from Guadalajara a few days ago. And he's getting good. Canelo's swing looks so good.
Dude, Canelo's a good golfer.
Because you get to do celebrity tournaments, right? Have you done Tahoe or
No, I haven't done Tahoe yet.
You should do Pebble.
Yeah, most of the time those just conflict with competition dates. Like after the games, I'll
when you're getting older and retired, you're going to be in all those celebrity tournaments. Just keep balling out in the skate world so you can do those things. Like I caddied for Kelly at Pebble 2 years ago. One of the best experience ever. Me and my best friend sitting there on like the 8th hole over the ocean going, is this real?
How did he do up there?
He's really good. But, you know, in the Pro-Am there, if you have a bad hole, you just pick up, you know? Yeah. They only take your scores that are good. Yeah, but dude, Kelly's, you know, he's a scratch. Wow. And his putting and driving is flawless, and that's what you need. You don't want to miss the fairway at Pebble, and he every drive is 290 down the middle, and his putting is next level. So, yeah, it's fun, too, because if he wanted to, he could be a pro golfer still, like in the Champions Tour.
Yeah, we all got to get a tee time out there at Del Mar, man. Del Mar's in great shape right now.
And I got all the hookups, man. I think golf has been my thing since I was a little kid, and I know everyone in this town, so we could go play Santa Luz. Like, I love La Costa, and now McKay's a fucking member.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we golfed 2 days ago. Golf? So I want him on the podcast. He's like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm a little nervous, this and that. And he goes, you want to go golf? And I go, what? I go, you golf? And he's like, yeah, I'm super into it. I'm a member at La Costa. And he came out, and we had such a good time because he's the same age as me. And we grew up together. And we had all those years partying. We both got our first houses right here, big old house on the beach and shit, and raged, party. We were totally out of control. And now we're older, and we're like, now we're golfing and hanging out like just normal dudes. And it was really refreshing because, God, is that guy not just the sweetest, most amazing athlete, cool dude all around? Yeah. McKay is the shit.
Colin's so sick.
He's such a good dude. He takes care of me when I was in Canada. I'd always buy weed before I go snowboard every time, go into his little town there in fucking Vancouver. He's just the dopest guy ever. And I told him I was doing a podcast with you. So he respects the young guys, which a lot of, older skater guys, they could take it or leave it. But he seems like him and Danny and Tony taking care of that young girl and showing her the way and the ropes. I mean, it's impactful, and that's what I can't even imagine what you're going to be like in your 40s. These kids are probably going to be out there showing them exactly how to do what you did and be successful, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson that I would probably teach young skateboarders now, or even when I'm older, is just to understand how to comprehend the fear as you get older. Like skating is so dangerous. There's so much fear involved that it makes you. It's really hard to not fall into that ego, not fall into that trap, because there's so much fear, like you talked about, like surfing, skating, snowboarding. There's just so much risk,
right?
But yeah, again, to go back, Colin and Danny, like, man, those two, like they were my start. Like They were who I pioneered my skate career around, and they were the first people who gave me a chance.
And who's your favorite skater of all time? Like, who's the guy? I was Tom Curran in surfing.
Oh my gosh, man. Favorite skater. I mean, I feel like just because I'm such a fan of the sport, like I love different things. Like I loved how Danny was able to do such technical flip tricks on vert. Right. But I also love that same reason for Colin. Like, and I also love their relationship. Like, that was me and Jed, it felt like, like we just had that relationship where we always want to be better than each other. And they were just so good in their unique ways. And then Bob, like, doing all that on Mega and watching his video parts, doing 9-foot ollie to fakies on Mega. Like, it's just, all that to me is just so inspiring. So to me, pick a favorite skater. I mean, the only person I can think about who's like well-rounded that I feel like I pioneered a lot of my career off of is Danny.
That's insane. He's going to love to hear that. He's Jack Johnson right now, too. That fucking guy. Fucking those workout videos. I'm like, take it easy, killer.
Well, do you know Paul Hineker?
Yeah.
That's who I work with. So he's my trainer.
Check. Is that what his company called? Paul Check?
Well, yeah. So Paul Check is another
it's
trainer.
Not the same guy?
No, Paul Hineker is another trainer who Danny and Colin work with, too.
Right. And it's right here down in Encinitas, no? Is that
still down there? He's in Carlsbad.
Okay.
Yeah. But Hineker is sick, and we've been working great together. And
you train a lot, huh?
Train every day.
Fuck. Stop it with all that shit. That's just too cool. Yeah. I mean, if you can train every day, there's no stopping you.
Well, I mean, I'm just not going to negotiate.
injury.
I'm just not going to negotiate with myself. You know, that I think that's kind of the whole thing, right? It's like my perspective of training is not like grueling.
Right.
Like my training that I do is all like DNS, diaphragmatic breathing, like yoga type training on top of eating right and sleeping right and getting in the ocean. Like these things to me is just a daily life. It's kind of what I feel like I need to sustain my sanity. You know, because when you're a competitor and you dedicate as much of your life as I have to competition, like it's been 19 years of competition now. And I feel like at this level, it's just a different type of mentality. It's like every day is enjoyable, but every day needs to be dedicated and have a purpose.
Takes the anxiety out of nervousness because you already know the feeling of taking the anxiety from training and working at something. When you go out to compete, the nerve level is almost kind of gone now because you're so skilled at what you're doing. It just comes natural, right? Are you at that point? Fear is the best part.
You
nervous.
compete like you train and train like you compete. Like I think that's the biggest thing, right? You talk about you talk about Jordan, or you talk about Kobe, or you talk about these amazing athletes, right? Like Tom Brady. Like you go back to what their practices look like. They were simulated tournaments.
Right.
They were not.
Yeah.
They were not mellow practices. Like Michael Jordan socked Steve Kerr in the face in a practice.
Yeah,
in a practice, right? Like these types of simulations, like I punch the shit out of my board in practices. Like I get pissed and I'm simulating contests and I'm simulating pressure, and I have people in there watching, taking percentages. I'm really dedicated to like really just on a pursuit of perfection. Like that's what I'm searching for, you know? And I think that when you can dedicate your time and each day to something like that, like it just gives you a better outlook of the athlete you could become. I think that's my whole thing. And I feel like you find that perspective when you just stop the bad shit.
Right.
Like when you stop surrounding yourself with people who are complaining, right, or who are not disciplined, who don't have good habits. When you start having great habits and being hydrated and being well nourished and all these things, like when you start doing that, you start realizing that you're probably operating at like 30-40% of your capacity. Right. Like what does 80 to 90 look like?
Yeah, being selfish for the right things is the most important thing.
Yeah, because you being selfish for those right things are actually going to help everybody around you.
So true.
You know, and you're going to become a beam of light. Like you're going to become a person that people can look for advice and for all that. Like when I have, like my greatest feeling ever is having my parents ask me about health advice. My parents will actually ask me like, hey, so why the cold plunge? Or like, hey, so why are you eating more leafy greens or omega-3s or magnesium? Or why are you taking these supplements? Why are you doing L-glutamine? Like, that's so cool. When I get to talk to them about that and they're getting healthier and they're benefiting off of my sacrifice to be healthy, like that is like the most fulfilling, heartfelt. That is the reason why. Like that's the why. It's not the medals.
You respect your parents so much that it's got to be the most amazing thing for them.
It's the greatest. I mean, and you probably feel this too, being like an amazing surfer. Like when you get to pass that along, like when if some young gun comes up to you and has advice and you can be like, I know exactly what to do. Like, here's how to help.
It's so insane what you're saying. It's almost like I'm talking to myself right now. It's like it's taken me so long to have these words that are coming out of your mouth, and I feel enlightened because I finally I actually have stuff to help people with. And you're at 23 or so far along. It's insane, bro. Like I never thought in a million years this was going to be the interview we had. I literally thought we were going to be talking about some corny ass shit. I saw Jimmy Kimmel or one of those tight shoes. You wore this crazy suit and you just got the bronze and you're in this thing. And I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. You know, like,
that suit was crazy.
That suit was crazy.
But that was the point. Like it's Jimmy Kimmel with David Spade. Like I had to kind of show out.
But now I love that moment because I know that wasn't. What I saw is not who you were, and that I love that crazy shit. That's what I was. I wore crazy suits to the surfer pool every year. I'd make custom suits in Bali when we were there, and I'd wear them to the fuck thing. I love that, but I didn't know who you were, and now that I do, I'm like, it's insane, man. I really, really, really do love you as a person, and it's only been like an hour and a half of knowing you. It's insane. It's the biggest compliment to your parents ever.
Oh, thank
you.
Your
parents are the coolest people, and I've never met them. And it's because of the person they made.
Thank you.
It's unreal, dude. It's unreal. Your parents must be over the moon every day they wake up. They're like, I'm going to name him Jack fucking Johnson and Perry Farrell and like whatever fucking music they're listening to while they had sex. I mean, are you guys having sex to Mick Jagger in the where were you born? 2001? Let's see, Jagger. Yep. That's awesome, man. Shout out again to your parents before we end this podcast, because I'm going to have them on season 3, both of them, and just pick their brains and be like, what happened in your guys' life that you could create these human beings that are going to change the world? You guys are going to change the world, man. And the cool part is you have the platform. You don't like social media, cool. But when you do post, make it about what you're talking about.
No, I mean, that's my whole point. Like when I say I'm not on social media, I don't mean it in the way where I think everything on social media is negative. I just think a lot of people are using social media as a way to promote very negative connotations and very negative habits. Like that's just not who I am. No. You know, I use social media now a lot to promote the partners that I'm a part of, because they've sacrificed a ton to be involved with me. Right. You know, and also like I do use my platform to promote things. Like you know, I think that's
your job.
I use my platform to promote things I believe in. Like whether it's brands or sayings, but I also use my platform, like it's all very personal. Like I'm not just letting somebody run and be like, okay, I'm out. Right. You know, like I'm definitely on there. What I post is real. Right. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming. My parents, they're gonna love to hear that. Wow.
Dude, I can't wait for them to hear this. We had this young guy, Skip, surfer from San Diego. His mom wrote us a text on, what was that, Facebook or something?
It was on Instagram.
Instagram.
She
wrote us a
sent
comment.
us this big long text, like thanking us for having Skip on the podcast, and then mentioning that he and his brother used to watch one of Benji's movies on their little TV in the kitchen, like every single morning.
When they're like 6 or 7 little kids. And they would eat every morning. They'd watch the same video that, I don't know what video of what I was in or whatever, and they would watch every morning, and then they'd come in and she'd go, don't you want a different movie? Shut up. And they would eat cereal every morning and do it. Mm-hmm. And she's telling this story and saying how happy it was to hear her son's story through this podcast and everything. And it's same thing. It's like happy mom, happy life. And your mom's going to be so happy to hear this. It's going to be insane. She's going to listen to it. She's going to write a comment like, he didn't watch surf videos, but he watched this fucking Danny Way and Colin McKay Plan video over and over, where they both are wearing white tees and like fighting and shit. Remember that video? Like one of their very first parts are both like 14. Yeah. That video. That was my life growing up with freaking those assholes. And I bet, you know, Sean Sheffy and Sal Barbier I saw the other night. And we're going to put Christian Hosoi on the podcast soon because he's a really good friend of mine. And the skate world needs more of this. And so does the surf world, and everyone. The world needs more of this. So, dude, I can't thank you enough for coming on the potty. You have anything else to say?
I'm just honestly dumbfounded by this entire episode.
Yeah, it's cool.
This is the opposite pretty much of what I expected to hear.
I don't know, some 23-year-old pro skater was going to be a freaking Buddha. You're going to go to Bali and so I can like elevate and freaking, this is cool. There's nothing I can say that is going to make the future of your life better, because you already figured it out, man. Just keep doing you. Keep going to that ice plunge every morning. Get in that water, even if it's got poop in it from all the rain. You know, have you been going in the water lately with all the rain?
Yeah, I haven't missed a day since the beginning of this year.
Fuck, where do you go? Just right there in Cardiff?
Yeah, I just go to Seaside.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. Well, Jag, thanks so much for taking the time, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. And like I said earlier, like I appreciate you guys asking the real questions, and I appreciate your perspective. Like you said, you know, I think a lot of our world especially, but the world, you know, I think needs a big consciousness shift, and I do see a little bit of movement in the right direction.
You're going the right direction, dude. I got chicken skin when you've been saying this stuff, and I'm nervous for these young kids. I'm nervous that they don't have the right path. It's not hard when your parents are putting a phone to play a video game because they don't want to deal with you. They're like, here, do that. Okay, you're taken care of. You're out there golfing. Yeah. That's the way to keep your perspective in there, because just like MMA, but not as painful, it'll teach you a lesson on every hole. Yeah. Every fucking tee shot when you're like, oh, shit. All right, every technical thing about golf is so fun, because some days that you don't think you're going to play good, you do. And then some days you go out there like, I'm going to kick everyone's ass, and you can't play well, and things are off. And dude, I mean, it's the same thing as surfing or skateboarding and surfing, but you don't have a shark trying to eat you or a ramp that's going to cut your head off. So, yeah, dude, I can't wait to see the future of this kid. This is going to be fun to do. And after the Olympic gold medal that you win, come back on this thing. Let's talk shit.
Yeah, it'll be a great one.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, guys. And he broke the mic. That was a mic drop.
That was a mic drop.
That was the one. I love you guys. Peace out. Cheers.